What if we just decided every morning that this will be the best day of our lives? Hello and welcome to the Patience to Prosperity podcast, where we learn how to act in opposition of our limiting beliefs in order to reach our fullest potential. Today we're going to be talking about the whole concept of romanticizing your life, because I think it has a lot to do with our theme of healing your inner child. I know that we live in a society today where the term romanticizing often makes us think about money. We think that in order to live a life that we deem romantic or we deem full, that we have to spend a lot of money every single day in order to fulfill that. And I just want to go over some tips and tricks today that can help you just implement little things into your daily routine that you're already doing to make your days just a little bit more fulfilling and enjoyable. Because we're not robots, and quite frankly, we shouldn't have to take breaks from our own life. I know that's kind of what we see vacation as. It's a break from reality, but we shouldn't have to take those breaks if we're just romanticizing our life every single day. So the first thing that I like to do to romanticize my life is slow mornings. I give myself more time than I would possibly need in the morning because I hate being rushed. And when you wake up early and you give yourself this leadway and this extra time to really just take your time in the morning and not feel rushed, I feel like you leave the house feeling better. You leave the house not feeling super anxious about wherever you're going. You gave yourself the time to put together an outfit that you feel good in, that you like. Something I like to do also is just wearing my favorite color. That makes me feel good. I am obsessed with the color green, and most of my wardrobe is green, so I like to wear green a lot because it makes me happy. It's little things like that can just really pick you up in the morning. And I think that, it's really easy to see people on social media who have these hour-long morning routines that they're able to cut into a 15-second TikTok. But it's just not realistic, they start the video off putting together a $200 workout outfit, going to a Pilates class, buying a $20 smoothie, walking around town. It's just not realistic. And that's why I really just want to sit here and kind of help you guys realize that to romanticize your life, all you have to do is add a few things into the routine that you're already doing. You see what works for you and you add to that. So if you're able to get ready super quick in the morning, but you don't like being rushed, give yourself 10 more minutes. Just give yourself 10 more minutes. Make yourself a nutritious breakfast, maybe a coffee or some kind of drink, whatever floats your boat. And I also like to journal in the morning a lot. I just think it really starts my day off good, and I think I'll just put some journal prompts in the description below for you guys in the show notes so that you can get a better idea of what I do in the mornings when I journal. There was a time where I was journaling every single morning and every single night for probably 5 months, and I definitely saw a difference in how I showed up in my day-to-day life, and that's something that I want to go back to. So I'm telling you guys, add 10 more minutes to your morning routine. I got to do that too. Another thing that I noticed once my job switched locations to a place that was a little farther away from where I live, instead of complaining and dreading my commute, I actually started to find the joy and peace in it, because I realized that I was able to take some more time for myself in the morning to listen to my favorite songs that help me wake up a little bit and feel good to start my day. Maybe throw a podcast on if I want to get my mind thinking early in the morning. Just drinking my coffee in the car and being alone with my thoughts. I know that no one wants to sit in traffic, right? But maybe that is just the universe or God or whatever higher power that you believe in. Maybe that's just them telling you to take some time for yourself, not to be so stressed out, and that the only place that you're supposed to be is right where you are. Because if you weren't supposed to be right where you are, then you would be somewhere else. So look at it as an opportunity to start your day off right when you have to commute to work. There's something about experiencing the world when it's most quiet and still that is just kind of unmatched. You feel like you're almost the only person on earth. And I think that there's something really transformative about not taking control, but appreciating your slow mornings. So I'm just gonna list a few ways that I like to romanticize my life that don't really require a ton of money or effort to do, and they just make me feel really good about myself when I need a little pick-me-up. So one of the things I like to do is taking myself on a date. So I'll go to a cute cafe and bring a book or a journal. Sometimes I'll just edit a podcast episode or create some content. And it's really up to you what you choose to do there. You could literally sit there and do nothing if you wanted to and just take yourself for a good meal and a coffee. But I think there's something about going to sit down at a place where most people are probably meeting friends or colleagues or having a meeting or whatever it is, and you're sitting there just taking that time for yourself. I think it proves something to yourself, it really shows yourself how much love and care you have for yourself. And I think that's something that when we're in the middle of this self-love journey, it can be really easy to actually not know how deeply our love runs for ourselves. And I think that a lot of the things that come up in our lives can often test that. And that's why we go through these trials and tribulations in our life, because it's a testament to how much we love ourselves, to dedicate time for ourselves when we need it, rather than go by what society is telling us and what the internet is telling us, to just run as fast as we can and do everything until we burn out. So just make time for yourself. This honestly encompasses all of the things that I'm listing right now, but you have to really treat every single day like it's the best day of your life. And that's kind of the key to happiness. People say fake it until you make it, and I never really understood that until I started doing it. If you act like every single day is the best day of your life, then it's going to feel that way. It's going to feel like every single day is a celebration of life. And I think that's really beautiful. Another thing that I like to do is pick up a new hobby or try a new exercise, try a new food, just emphasis on something new. Adding something new into your life, because our brains are kind of wired to go to what's familiar to us, and that's why a lot of the times we automatically hate something when we're not good at it. But I think it's really transformative when we are able to see that this thing that we've always wanted to try, maybe it's a certain food that you haven't tried before, or maybe it's going to a Pilates class that you've never taken before. It's really cool to see that when we push ourselves past our comfort zone, there's nothing but good that leads from that. Because even if you don't like that Pilates class or that new food that you tried, now you know that you don't like it. Now you don't spend the rest of your life wondering what it would be like if you were to try that, because you know. And I think that there's lessons in everything, whether you like it or not. There's lessons in everything, and you can take something from absolutely everything you do. Plus, it just feels good to try something new. It really just kind of proves something to yourself, that you are dedicated to yourself and you want to make a life that's worth living. Another thing I like to do is to go on walks and to leave my phone at home, because the more that we're on social media, the harder it is for us to actually romanticize our lives, because everyone else that we see on social media seems to be romanticizing theirs. But we have to remember that social media is literally just a highlight reel of people's lives. It's not what their lives look like day to day. It's just the highlights. And I know it's really hard to remember that when you're constantly being fed just like these perfect Pinterest lives. But in order to romanticize our own lives, it comes from within. we don't romanticize our lives for others. This is where I believe the term romanticizing life gets misconstrued. We don't romanticize life by posting our highlights on Instagram. We romanticize our lives when we decide that the present moment is actually worth our full attention. So that's not to say that you shouldn't be taking pictures when you go out and do something fun or when something's pretty or catches your attention. I actually would argue that you should. I think that for me personally, it brings me a lot of joy and peace to take pictures of things that I find interesting and beautiful, because then I have a camera roll full of a beautiful life that shows me exactly how I like to live my life. And what I like to do is, instead of taking a picture and immediately going to, I'm gonna post this on Instagram, instead I keep that in my camera roll for a little bit. And I don't really dwell on it. I don't really think about it. And I go back to it, maybe in a week, maybe in a few days, maybe in a month. And then maybe I'll post a little dump on Instagram with all the pretty pictures that I like in my camera roll. And I think that's really fun and really fulfilling, because it helps you kind of feel like a creator. You know, like it's almost like you're putting a little art piece together when you put a photo dump together, because, you know, you can pick a song that goes with the vibe really well. You can tag some friends that are in the picture, connect with people through the comments. Maybe there's a certain vibe of the pictures that you're putting together that go really cohesively together. I just think that when our intention immediately goes to posting, that takes away from the true significance of the picture that we're capturing in the first place. So again, just know that you don't need to spend a shit ton of money in order to romanticize your life, because we're just taking what we already have and elevating it to its heightened experience. So going along with the whole concept of, you know, taking pictures and posting and all of that, I really want to touch on the art of noticing, because when we're romanticizing life, we're actually engaged in finding the stillness and peace of right now. We're recognizing that it is always there, and we just have to be open to noticing it. And there's something so powerful in just noticing the little things around you that you might drive by every single day. You might walk past every single day. And one day when you just decide to observe your surroundings a little harder and you see something that you pass every single day and it does something to you, I think it's just so powerful. So many of us go through each day constantly missing opportunities because we fail to notice our surroundings. We're so caught up in our head, caught up in what other people think of us and how they see us, and we're just failing to recognize all of the beauty that is constantly around us, that has never dissipated. It's always been around us. So something I like to do is when I'm walking around, say I'm at school and I'm walking around campus, or I'm driving home from work. I mean, if you're driving home from work, you shouldn't be on your phone anyways, but needless to say, I really just try to prioritize not going on my phone when I'm especially walking places, because I feel like I'm just completely disengaging from the world around me, and there's so many things that I could be missing, you know, like maybe someone walks past me with a really cool outfit that inspires me. Maybe someone smiled at me when I'm having a bad day, and if I was on my phone scrolling through Instagram while I'm walking to class, I would miss that. And, you know, a smile goes a long way, especially when you're not having a good day to begin with. So I just think that keeping your phone in your back pocket while you're walking especially is a really, really good idea, and it will help you tap into this more observative mindset that I'm talking about. Because we may miss something that could have given us a great new perspective. There's so many instances that I can think about where I was walking and someone or something completely changed the way I think about something or I view myself. You know, sometimes like I'll walk past someone who's wearing really bright colors and really bold patterns and jewelry just like I wear, and it kind of puts things into perspective to me. It's like, oh, I think that looks cool. So that's all that matters to me. Like, I'm not wearing these fun colors and stuff for other people. I think it looks cool. Like, look how cool she looks. Another thing we might fail to recognize is just the divinity of nature and the changes in the trees and the flowers. Like, I really realized once I got to school and I started really prioritizing, like, putting my phone away and being more observative about my surroundings, I actually felt like for once in my life, I could see the seasons changing as they were changing. Like, I saw the end of winter and the beginning of spring because of how present I was. And it's just really beautiful, and it puts you in a different headspace. I think that the seasons can often really control our mindsets and honestly just our mental health. Like, I know a lot of people go through seasonal depression, and I was definitely a victim, I guess you could say, of seasonal depression for a long time. And I think it wasn't until this past year that I was able to take a hold on it and realize that one of the main reasons why winter would make me so depressed was because I put a label on it. I made it this depressing thing. I told myself that winter was depressing and it was sad. And walking around campus, you know, going to my 8 a.m.s while it was -5 degrees outside wasn't fun. But I was able to see the beauty that winter brings, because everything seems to dissipate in winter, right? The trees are bare, everything's white or gray, but there's those days where the skies are still blue. There's nothing like snowfall. There's nothing like snowfall. It is just so peaceful. And it brought me a lot of peace when I realized that there's certain things that I can't do in the summer and the fall and the spring that I can do in winter. You know, I don't want to curl up with a hot cocoa in bed watching my favorite movie with my best friend in summer. I want an iced tea and a matcha or a coffee, and I want to go play outside. Like, I don't really want to be inside that much. So I think it's just the little things that you notice that can help you really gain a greater perspective and deeper gratitude for the things that you may have overlooked in the past. And I'm not going to sit here and say that winter is my favorite season. It's absolutely not. And it doesn't have to be. You're still allowed to not enjoy it as much as another season, but I appreciate it so much greater knowing that spring comes because of winter. So I don't know if that was a little bit of a tangent, but when we give the world around us our full attention, we're literally telling the universe that we are open to receiving anything that's coming in, because we're actually presently noticing the things around us. It's no surprise that when we start noticing things more and opening ourselves up more and being more present, that we see more angel numbers, that we see more signs, maybe from our past loved ones. I know that for me, I symbolize my past grandpa with cardinals. And it wasn't until I really honed in on being present and observing the things around me that I saw cardinals basically every single day, multiple times a day. And that's just one example. I just really believe that the things that we notice tell us a lot about ourselves as well. We are able to understand ourselves at a deeper level when we can make sense and make meaning of something so small that we once overlooked and didn't even think about. It's just so incredibly powerful to take notice to your surroundings. So going back to like the angel number example that I gave, I just really feel as though there's just as much judgment than there is people who find joy in angel numbers. And that's something that I kind of just want to note, because when you really look at it, I saw a TikTok actually today that, I'm going to quote this completely wrong, but it was a funny, silly little TikTok, and this girl was saying, like, you judge me for seeing angel numbers, but I'm able to make meaning of my microwave. Like, something like that. Like, literally looking at her microwave gives her a sense of clarity. It gives her some purpose in her life. And if someone is going to judge you for that, if someone is going to judge you for looking at a certain number and finding meaning in that and giving you purpose, screw them. It's your life. And that's the thing I really actually love about angel numbers. It's the sense of purpose that it gives me. I love that every single number serves a different purpose, and it teaches me that I am completely aligned with the universe and where I'm meant to be. Because whenever I see one and I'll quickly search up the meaning, it's exactly what I need to hear. And that just gives me a sense of purpose, and it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else but me. And the more that I tap into the art of noticing and being present, the more angel numbers I see, like I said before. I just really look at angel numbers as an opportunity to step away from whatever I'm doing for just 1 minute. And what I like to do, I guess you could call it like a little ritual, but whenever I see an angel number, instead of just being like, oh, that's really cool, and then just going on with my day, I'll look up the meaning, and then I will see how it aligns with my life, and then I will simply say something like, thank you, universe, for everything that I am receiving in this life. I am so grateful for everything good or bad that I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm open to receiving whatever is meant for me, and I trust in your power because I know that everything is happening in divine timing. Something like that. And a lot of the times it's different every single time I see one, because it's really just depends on what comes through for me. But I really just wanted to note that because a good friend of mine was actually the reason why I stopped whenever I saw angel numbers and just took a second to be grateful. And it wasn't until she told me what she says every time she sees angel numbers that I was able to really harness that into my own life and find so much purpose in just taking 1 minute when you see that number and just being grateful, because gratitude is so important. We're humans and we make meaning of every little thing. It's not hurting you when someone else finds meaning in seeing a repeated number constantly. So if you are one of those people that is judgmental when it comes to angel numbers, just let it go. Let people find joy and peace in whatever they find joy and peace in. It's not up to you. And it honestly just makes you look super miserable when you're hating on what other people find joy in. So I really just want to connect everything that we talked about today to this season of healing our inner child. I just really think that romanticizing your life has a lot to do with your childlike self, because I find that I'm happiest when I'm closest to my inner child and when I'm living for her and doing the things that she loved to do. So a lot of the things that I implement to romanticize my life are things that I loved as a child, or things that I would appreciate when I was younger that I didn't get. For example, those extra 10 minutes in the morning. If I felt like I was always rushed to school when I was little, and I give myself 10 more minutes in the morning as an adult before I commute to work, it helps me slow down a little bit. It helps me find more time to be grateful and find more time to just come back to myself when I need to. Because I really think that your morning kind of shapes your entire day. And that's not to say that you can't turn your day around when you have a shitty morning, because shitty mornings are inevitable. But when you make the intention to start off your day good and to open up your heart to whatever you're meant to receive in that day, you're already starting your day off on such a good foot. So little things like dancing and singing to my favorite songs in my room, watching my favorite childhood movie, or just being silly and goofy with my friends, maybe cooking myself my favorite childhood meal or snack, or one of my mom's recipes. Things like that just really help me feel connected to myself, because my inner child is being heard and being seen and feeling loved. And like I've said in episodes before this one, your inner child is called your inner child because they're always inside of you. You've never lost that. You're always going to have your youth still inside of you. You just have more responsibilities now. Our society teaches us that with aging comes less play, but somehow more freedom. And I just kind of want to express my thoughts on this. Because in some ways, I feel like you're really stripped of your freedom when you're older because people expect so much from you, and it's almost as if you're looked down upon if you take a few moments for yourself, where you're not working your ass off and you're not pushing yourself in the gym and doing whatever it is. I firmly argue that you need to take time for yourself in order to get that work done. You need to take moments of rest in order to fully live your life. We're free to make our own decisions with little to no help or guidance on how to do so, but we're conditioned to feel shame for engaging in things that light our souls up. And those things are now deemed childish or careless when we're adults. And the truth is, we will never get to where we want to be if we don't take time for ourselves in the process and allow our souls to embrace the present moment. So I guess an occurring theme in this episode just comes down to presence and the art of noticing. I think that these things are really, really important when we are trying to romanticize our lives because it helps us understand that it's so much more simple than we're trying to make it. And it's not our fault that we saw this as such a difficult thing before because that is what we're conditioned to believe. We're conditioned to believe that these people on social media that are showing us their lives, we're supposed to envy them in a way. You know, like they have all these followers and they have all of these likes and views because we're supposed to want that. We're supposed to envy this go, go, go lifestyle. And I'm here to tell you that you don't always have to be on go mode. You're allowed to take time for yourself, and you should take time for yourself because that in itself is an act of self-love. You're showing yourself that you are dedicated to yourself and you love yourself when you allow yourself to take some time off and to come back to you. So that's all I have for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. I had a really fun time talking to you guys about this concept. It's something that I've really wanted to sit on the mic for and talk about for a while now. So I hope that you got something from it. With that being said, I would really appreciate if you could share this episode with a friend or maybe a family member because I think it's something that we all need to hear. I think that we can all get easily wrapped up in our heads and the world around us that's trying to show us that we are supposed to be somewhere else. But we're not. We're supposed to be right here. So if you want to find me on social media, I can be found at Patience to Prosperity on Instagram and TikTok. Or you can follow my main Instagram at Lizzie Arduino. And don't forget that in the show description of each episode, I will be posting journal prompts that have to do with the theme of each episode. So check those out if you are in the need for some inspiration, because I know that journaling can be something that we push off, including myself. But I think it makes it a little bit easier when we have prompts that can kind of guide our thinking. So yeah, there's only a few more episodes left in season 2 of Healing Your Inner Child, and it's really just brought me so much fulfillment, and I feel so aligned to this season because I feel like, especially in the season of summer, our childlike selves are really just trying to come out. Like, all they want to do is be heard. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying it, and I will see you next week with another episode. Bye!